Hello, everybody, and welcome back. On today's episode, parts of the monster manual, not all of it. I wanted to categorize the defensive and offensive stats for every single monster. Now, as we all know, the monster manual comes out on the 18th of February, but the pre-order people can get it on the, if I can do math correct, I think the 4th of February. So, hopefully by then, uh, my little plug can get it for me, and I could go over all of the monsters like I've done now with the release monsters. I have categorized the. Now, this is going to be spoilers for a lot of the monster stat blocks, not in depth, of course, but if you feel like you don't want to see that, get off this video right now. But if you want, for curiosity's sake, and to know what sort of the best strategies are as a player in general without having to look at the monsters, here is a good insight on what the 2024 monsters are going to look like. Well, they are 2024 monsters. Right now on this page, you see the CR0 creatures, so I don't think this is going to be massive spoilers. But here at the top is how many monsters have been released to the general public, which is 85. Their CR, the type of creature they are, their AC, hit points, their saving throws, what it categorized instead of their actual stats. Just because I don't think that really matters so much as the saving throws. Their resistances, their immunities, their condition immunities, and then their vulnerabilities. What saving throws they have you make as an attack against you. What damage types they have, and what conditions they apply. That's everything I've saved. There could be some extras here that I might make in a follow-up. Oh, I will make the follow-up. But I'm missing right now Legendary Resistance and Magical Resistance. I could add those, or I could add anything else the comment section would agree for me to add for more information. So I have categorized all of their stats. This is their average AC. This covers CR0 creatures to a few CR plus 20, so this is the average, quote unquote, for now, which is 12.74. As far as hit points goes, 43 tends to be the average. Again, it is including those high level monsters. I have broken down here what it is without the 0 CR creatures, and then the actual. We have enough of a sample size for the level 1 to 4, so we have levels CR8 and then up to CR4. So that's a good general range, which I selected there for Tier 1 adventurers. And then for strength saves, they tend to have at least positive and strength saves, greater so by dexterity saves and con saves. However, a minus 2.3 for intelligence save on average. That's a good stat to hit enemies with intelligence saving throws. That and followed up by charisma. That's for right now. I think the charisma one might change, but I think not a lot of monsters have good charisma. Like they might have good dexterity and wisdom. Even for the wisdom right here, because it includes a lot of the CR0 monsters, it's not as high as it should be. As for resistances, currently this is the percentage, so that'll be 3.5%. So not a lot of resistance here, but cold is a standout, fire is a standout. That's really it. Everything else is under 5%. As far as immunity goes, poison 14%. Who would have guessed? Fire, there's also some resistance here. There's going to be resistance for cold in the future. Just none of the monsters released have it. A little bit of psychic, radiant, and necrotic over here. Should be slide right there. Finally, for condition immunities. Blindness, I've also included people who have blind sight or tremor sense in this. That's why it's a little bit higher than the others at 15%. Because I just felt like, okay, even if you do blind them, they have a way to see you, right? So I kind of included that as a blind immunity. Poison immunity is the second highest, obviously. Poison's not that strong. There's immunity to exhaustion for some creatures, but I don't know how many spells or abilities that a player has that can impose exhaustion, so I don't think this really matters. But the frightened and paralyzed and charmed somewhat do, but I think you know what kind of monsters are immune to that. And then on to vulnerabilities, we have 3% from the skeleton types, cold resistance equal to some of the elementals, and then no other vulnerabilities at the moment right now. I will. I'll note that later. As far as saving throws, these are just creatures who have the ability to make you make a saving throw. 5% of the current ones now have you make a strength save. This is actually, I think, a downgrade from before, where a lot of the monsters have you made a strength save or you gained a certain condition. Now it just happens on the attack roll, so it's a little bit less impactful, which is somewhat unfortunate, because it already wasn't that good to begin with. Wisdom is obviously the highest ones that is opposed on a player, so that's why it's always important to have a good wisdom stat, at least not a negative one. And then second is a dex, no doubt there. Con is interesting at third. I was expecting charisma. Right now, there's no monster that imposes intelligence saving throw, even the magical ones. But I assume this number will also change, but I think this will probably be the lowest, but probably the most impactful, because when you make an intelligence save, my goodness, those spells suck if you fail. And then the damage types. Nearly half the monsters deal piercing damage, so if you find a way to get resistance to that, do it. And then 20% for slashing, nearly 30% for bludgeoning. Some do poison, and there's a good amount of them that deal the elemental types, and then even starting to deal force damage and necrotic and radiant coming up. And hopefully a lot of these monsters are pretty basic, so hopefully those will get expanded when we have more data. And then finally, conditions. The biggest one here is prone. About 15% of the current monsters can apply the prone condition. This is what they normally would apply for the strength saves, but now they just need to make the attack roll, and it just happens. So be careful out there, adventurers. Everything else is kind of somewhat low. The charmed is pretty common on those fickle fae and other magical users. And then everything else is pretty low, except for poison. Poison also will be applied by some of the venomous creatures that deal poison damage normally. And some creatures can grapple. Same condition with the prone here, where not every single creature needs to make, where you need to make a strength save to get out of it, where it just happens upon the hit. And then there are some creatures that can actually turn themselves or others invisible, so watch out for that too. A very small percentage right now, though. Okay, we're gonna look at this data now with without the CR0 monsters. So this will be an actual, this will be probably what you're actually gonna be useful to. So I took out the 20 monsters there. So now the AC has actually gone up to nearly 13.5 on average, and then the HP bulk up has increased to 58. The strength saves are a lot better. Second highest now. Con has actually moved up to being the highest, and Dex has fallen just the range. Wisdom is now better. Intelligence is still really low, and so is Charisma. So this is a nice 2 weak stats that you, as a probably spellcaster, would take huge advantage of. Even though those spells do less in terms of damage normally, they normally do a lot more in terms of effects and shutdown. And then we have the resistances here, which are more abundant. Poison's gone up because there's less weak monsters not resistant or immune. Something with fire. Blindness has gone up quite a bit. You can just see, and I'll release a PDF in the comments below, so don't worry there. So yeah, you're expected to face nearly 50% of the monsters that can make you make a wisdom save right now, and then dex save, strength, charisma, and then no intelligence at the moment. Now with actual monsters, the piercing damage type has gone down a little bit, and everything else has gone up in volume for the elemental damage types, and then for the special 4 over here. Especially force damage, which I'm shocked about. Even radiant, too. So yeah, prone now, that's nearly 21%. So yeah, 1/5 of all monsters you face might make you go prone without even a strength save, so be careful with that. Charm's gone up. Yeah, everything's gone up because there's less of the bad stuff in the pool. And now finally we're going to review just the lower tier monsters. So we kicked out the higher upper tiers. This is more realistic. We're going to fight at a level 1 to 4 adventure. Still a good majority of a good little view of what the types of monsters are going to be facing at the level. So the AC's gone down to about 12.5, nearly 30 HP. Con is still the highest, so try to avoid those types of rolls against enemies, and still Dex and Strength are high. But again, Intelligence very low. You could abuse that. Same thing with Charisma. You do not have those good saves. The resistances has gone down in general because there's less tougher creatures. Poison is still up there though for immunities. Immunity to fire, probably from some of the devils there. Blindness is also going down. Let's see there. Exhaustion, immunity. Again, don't know if you can apply that often. Now we just have the bludgeoning vulnerability from the skeletal creatures. In terms of saving throws, they'll make you make. Now that we've lost a lot of the higher tier dragons, the dex has gone down, and so has the wisdom. But I just don't think in this level you'll be making a lot of saves versus most monsters. It's up until tier 2 when you will be. Piercing damage has gone up because we weeded out a lot of the higher tier elemental stuff. So we're back to the physical damage types being the majority of it. And then, again, prone has gone higher because most of the lower monsters, that's the main effect there, just give themselves advantage, which would be very dangerous stat in pack tactics. So, at this point, I'm going to go over some of the interesting monsters that I felt. So the zombie here, this one got nerfed. I used to have about 22 HP, I want to say, and all the stats are the same. But it was an annoying creature to fight. Early on, even the late game, it was annoying because of its passive ability, and they just decided it's tanky enough, and they lowered its maximum hit points, which is nice. Where's someone? I think like the crocodile here. It applies prone, doesn't it? It does not apply prone. The giant goat does. Yeah, you see here, so the giant goat... Wait. Yeah, a giant goat applies prone. However, it does not need a strength saving throw. Because now it just, as part of its charge action, if it has enough distance, it will just knock them over. And other monsters, beasts especially, are the same way. So like the imp here. The imp no longer has resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. That's quite interesting. Same thing with the Quasit, which is a demon. Actually, I think they changed the Quasit's type. Let me check. Nope, still a fiend. Oh, there we go. That's one thing I wanted to mention, is that some creatures have changed damage types. Is there a goblin here? There's not. Oh, there's a bugbear. That works too. That's a Balooig. Where's the bugbear? Bugbear. Bugbear Warrior. They used to be humanoid, as they were goblins. They are now considered Fey. This will affect spells like Charm Person or Hold Person. So a lot of the types have been changed Fey, and then like I think the Asimars and Tieflings might even be Fiendish and or Celestial. I'm not quite sure on that one. But I think even the okay, never mind. Let me not spout out stuff I don't know at the moment. Anything? Oh, the Dire Wolf. I think it's the same thing with the Strength save. Yep, no Strength save here on the Dire Wolf. And does it apply prone? Yes, it does. There you go. It's another dangerous one that will just, if it attacks, and it will, it's a Dire Wolf. And it will probably hit. It's a Dire Wolf. It will apply prone. And even the Giant Spider that can, it can restrain you at a distance. It does. Okay, that one does require dex save. Well, we have that at least. Any other one that interested me? The gelatinous cube, I think, has more ways to damage someone and keep them locked in with a dex and strength save, but I didn't really use them that much. The interesting one. Oh, things like the Cult Fanatic now deal necrotic damage on their main attacks, which is really cool. They can also cast better spells that can paralyze you. Then there's the Vampire Familiar, which is still human, which is interesting, not an undead. And it also has the ability to deal poison damage as well as paralyze the players and even poison them. The Knight also has a radiant damage. These now are more akin to paladins on their attacks, which is nice. Now, in general, as you can see here, they're trying to group enemy types and make sure there's that enemy type at every single level. So now we have a tough boss, which is stronger than like the thug boss, I think it was, or the thug. No, bandit leader. There we go. And they're trying to do the same thing. They have a pirate captain. Where is that? There we go. Another humanoid. And they have the big stuff down here. And the mage also got a big buff by doubling its health, which is crazy. And they have spells per day instead of a spell slot list, which is easier for DMs to manage. So yeah, that's it. I should have fixed that. There we go, it's fixed. No, there we go, it's fixed. Don't think there's anything else I want to talk about for now. No, not at the moment. Yeah. Oh, the one thing, the Succubus and Incubus now have different stat blocks. They have the same like stats, but they're able to do different things. So the same defenses, but they're offensively. The Succubus makes the player make a con save against one of their attacks. They both still do psychic damage, and the Succubus can charm, while the Incubus... Alright, I'm back after an hour, I think. I don't know, you can see the timestamps. So, yeah, the Succubus... The Incubus, I know, has more power, which is why the Succubus has more of the charming saving throws and a better utility spell list, while the Incubus is more damage. And I think that's about it that I wanted to note. I think all the immunities for the dragons are here. Actually, there is the half dragon. There we go. I should have brought that up earlier. It doesn't actually have poison, acid, cold, fire, or lightning resistance. It is that each of the dragon elements, you get to choose one. So, I don't know. Let's just say, for example, we choose a white dragon, and it has cold resistance. So it only has that one. It has the possibility to do all three. So that's why I put all three down. But it does have more incense. And then the same thing, the damage types, where it can do acid, poison, cold, fire, lightning. But they're all dex on that breath weapon save. So yep, that's about it. I hope you learned something. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next Wednesday. Unless I don't post by Wednesday because I missed my schedule. Have a good one, everybody.